I ask this because I have an alternative style, the usual dark clothing, and little makeup, etc. However, ever since I started dressing more like this, both in my inner circle and workplace, I have had more men approach me and actually say they find my look attractive. There's nothing wrong with that, but I find it interesting how they don't even like my music taste or come close to my style, yet they seem to like it a lot. Unfortunately, I'm the only one with this style and have yet to meet a guy with a similar taste, though I've seen some of them liking the more average or clean style girl too, which made me laugh since it seems opposites attract each other. I just wanted a more recent opinion about it. Story 1. Why do so many women find surfers attractive despite never surfing themselves? You can ask the same question about any uniform. Firemen, military, scene boys, punk rockers, sports teams. Whatever. Goth is just a uniform, you just conform with a different style. Anyway, one doesn't have to dress that way to appreciate it. Like, I'm sitting here looking like a suit and tie businessman right now, but in my headphones is emo. I may not have eyeshadow on, but I do have eyeshadow on in my heart. Story 2. If you're an attractive woman and you put any effort into any style at all, you're going to get attention from men. I know guys who only listen to rap, dress in Supreme, and drive Corollas who see a country girl in boots and jeans listening to George Strait, and they're drooling. Story 3. I think it has to do with contrast in color. It's the same as dark red lipstick versus pale pink lipstick. The pale one might be pretty, but the dark one is bold and sexy. For me, it's the boldness of the gothic style makeup that provides sex appeal as opposed to just being nice looking. Story 4. That's like asking why women like men who look like handymen when they themselves know nothing about tools. Attraction doesn't discriminate over here. Story 5. Goth girl I knew cured the darkness in her soul by wearing black and baking things to give to people. Most people who are upset demand things from others. Few people give of themselves to feel better. I think there is a lesson in that. Story 6. Classic goth girls, not modern ones, often give the impression of providing all the benefits of a woman plus some of the interests that your male friends have. It's like the best of both worlds. Story 7. Many reasons. They tend to exhibit tomboyish and bold elements, which is attractive. It's like your guy best friend happens to be a girl who you can also sleep with. They tend to be misunderstood or have gone through some trauma. This engages the man's primal instinct to protect, provide, and repair. They are different from most other women. Engages the primal instinct to explore and take risks. It's like a challenge. They tend to dislike social interaction and advances from men, which makes them more valuable in the eyes of men. They like the color black, and black is mysterious, and mysterious is attractive. Story 8. They see a girl putting a lot of effort into her appearance, even if it's sideways, and think, oh, she probably wants some attention. I have attention and I have a penis. My penis thinks this is a good idea. Story 9. The modern goth style is very sexualized in today's media. I mean, think chains, garters, heavy makeup. Also, it depends on what you mean by goth. Traditional goth girls probably wouldn't be considered attractive by most men. It's the watered-down, more digestible goth that you're thinking of, and the men in this subgroup are thinking of. Plus, again, if she's unattractive but goth, it won't make her more appealing. Story 10. Fantasy and variety maybe. Personally, I also got the impression they were less high maintenance, and if I was being honest, I enjoyed the whole dynamic. I dated a hot goth girl when I was rather in shape and a pretty good athlete. Though we shouldn't be doing this was a plus. When I was younger, those types of relationships were short-lived but intense. Most younger guys love it. Laugh out loud. Story 11. As men, we are always under pressure to perform masculinity to attract women. So, when we see gothic women who do not adhere to standard social norms, we feel that we don't have to work so hard to be a man. Story 12. There's a correlation between the style and the temperament. They are more easygoing. If you had a Karen mom, it's like breathing for the first time or dropping a huge weight off your back. Story 13. As a person with a generally nerdy style, t-shirt and pants with a boring look, goth girls have the appearance of being cute while also being wild. I've always loved the dark eyeliner since Avril Lavigne. Also, many of these girls growing up are nice to nerds because we were rejected in the same way. No idea why, but the goth and the nerd is definitely a stereotype that's true. If I had to guess, most of the goth girls I've met tend to be honest and just passionate about something. They were kind of nerdy in a way. If you lean into the personality and sex dynamic, lots of them are bratty, so if your kink leans that way, you'll enjoy a goth girl. Goth girls can also be more aggressive, leading, and overpowering, which leads to many submissive people enjoying it. See also the boss fantasy, which triggers similar things. Story 14. I think most of the answers here are correct. It's a look that has been emphasized for so long now it automatically becomes a point of attraction and curiosity. It's different and therefore commands a stronger personality or sense of self in a way that takes chances despite the norm. This can be exciting. What I do find slightly irritating, though, is that it's become so popular that many who dress alternatively or goth only do so for attention, which really bothers me. I know it's just clothes, but anything outside of true self just for show is annoying, and many women bounce from one cool right now thing to the next. Story 15. Men find attractive women appealing, not goth women. If an attractive woman has an unusual style, it adds extra spice to the whole image. Goths have become a kind of cultural reference nowadays because they have always captured public attention both in a positive and negative way. Many movies and shows have depicted them over the years, so they have become one of the most mainstream alternative subcultures. More recent depictions from the past 10 to 15 years are more explicitly sexy and cute, so a lot of men associate goth with sexually open and exciting women. As a result, people have various associations with them and find the surface-level occult aesthetics fun and interesting, and the clothes attractive. Back when I was in high school in Europe in the mid-2000s, we still had a number of original goths before it all became a cultural reference. Back then, they were mostly made fun of for being a dying subculture or were asked how they felt about vampires becoming sparkling emo representations in the public consciousness. I had a number of goth friends, mostly girls, and there was nothing inherently attractive about their style. I didn't find any of those girls attractive for their style because they weren't attractive to me to begin with. So, the sexy goth is a post-2010 phenomenon. Story 16. They think you are wild in bed and are fantasizing about all of the crazy stuff you would be down for because it's hard to imagine that with vanilla girls. Story 17. A couple of guys I know have explicitly said they think certain styles suggest someone is a nasty freak in bed. I disagree. Don't come for me. I think it happens, but it's not closely correlated. Story 18. Here's my theory. Gothic style can sometimes appear playfully seductive to some individuals, featuring tight pants, black clothing, revealing and/or ripped tops and bottoms, chokers, and the like. Television often portrayed Gothic girls as those who related better to guys or simply had cooler attitudes. Take Sam and Ember from Danny Phantom or Raven from Teen Titans as examples. All of this contributed to a fetish or attraction. Additionally, there's a connotation of daddy issues which for some reason guys find appealing. I personally like Gothic girls because I tend to have more in common with them. My first and only girlfriend was Gothic. Story 19. For me, it's many things. I like the eyeshadow and eyeliner look. The style is something I find much more fashionable and personable than all these cookie-cutter blonde girls with jeans and white puffy jackets and UGG boots look. They tend to have a much darker and funnier sense of humor that I enjoy. They have good taste in movies, music, and food. And when you actually get intimate, the smeared makeup look is rather sexy. Story 20. I used to present myself that way as well many years ago. I still find them attractive, but through experience, I've developed a bad taste for them. I have a negative confirmation bias towards them romantically. Everyone I've met or known has been cool, but a nightmare to date, so I stay away. Nobody is a perfect partner, and I fully admit it's all on me, but when I see a goth girl and she says or does something that's a small indicator of the typical problems I ran into every time, my interest disappears. Story 21. Personally, I am very much into everything dark, spooky, and eerie. I have been drawn to it since I was a kid. So goth girls are just a good fit for me, aesthetically as well as personality and interest-wise. I have always dated alternative girls. My most recent ex was the opposite. I figured I would give it a shot, but it just was not a good fit. I am looking for my next alternative or goth girlfriend now, Unfortunately, though, they are not easy to find. Story 22. It's incredibly corny in my opinion when they want an alternative woman but then will be the most vanilla people. Plus, they likely also make fun of alternative women with their friends. There are a lot of weird dudes out there. Story 23. Goth girls are often the entry point to the one that got away type of woman. Every man remembers being a boy wishing he could find the courage to approach those dark angels. Most of us never found the courage, and it became the cornerstone of our journey into inadequacies. Now, whenever we see one, we think, maybe now I'm enough. And then remember we're 25 and they're in high school. Goth girls evaporate like Ariel's legs after high school. So, when they say big bitty goth girls could save the world, they are really talking about fixing an insecurity before it's even born. Story 24. I don't know if it's that goth girls are attractive or that goth girls are the only ones who pursued me, which is incredibly attractive, therefore goth girls are attractive. Someone else will have to take one for the team for science, as the last goth girl who pursued me hasn't let go of me in 18 years, and I'm more than happy with the outcome. Story 25. It's the allure of the forbidden. People want what they can't have, what is outside the ordinary. There are infinite plain Janes at Starbucks but few goths. The goddess of the night won't go for you, you daywalker, but they dream and think themselves to be the one worthy of her affections. They think that because of some eyeliner, black lace, leather clothing, and dismissive aloof attitude, she is more mysterious, interesting, or magical than your everyday woman. Something about them sparks the imagination, or the perceived crazy or unusual factor. Hot and crazy is a famous combination that feeds into each other. I just love a woman that could kill me, as one man once said. Also, many are definitely hot and pull off the look well. Story 26. It is also a lot easier and more accepting for women to dress goth or alternative than men in my experience. We basically have three options: corporate goth, punk, or dark twink. Corporate is the only one you can do at most workplaces, and that requires more effort into appearance than most guys care to give, to be honest. Story 27. It's called fetishizing. Also, being goth is a lifestyle and not a fashion choice, and it generally does not go away with age. We also don't refer to ourselves as women. Story 28. Usually, goth or alternative girls tend to be laid back and fun to hang out with. They generally have a very good sense of humor and will make fun of you, but they can also take a joke. They are intimidating in a good way. You can let down your guard around them once you get into their circle. Meeting the person underneath that cold exterior is invigorating. On the outside, she appears to be a cold person who seems indifferent to the world around her, but you are special. You know her for who she is and discover she's actually very sensitive and empathetic. Story 29. Wish I knew. There was this one goth girl in high school, and as a goth girl, I thought she was flaming hot. Then one day she had some important presentation to make, and she had to dress normal. And good God, was she gorgeous. Her dad was a teacher and a pretty cool dude, sweater, tie, big glasses, but this girl and her sister were both goth girls and like really real. Torn tights, piercings, blue hair, black makeup, tall combat-looking boots. But bloody hell were they hotties. And I'm like the dad, collared shirt, tie, dress shoes, but listening to Metallica and Slayer on the drive home. So to answer your question, I don't know. Story 30. I've never gotten it. I genuinely thought my friends were kind of joking when they were losing their minds over a goth girl we met. Not that she wasn't pretty, it's just not a style that attracts me. Story 31. Wearing a goth outfit shows that you have interests. You are willing to put effort into those interests. That already makes you more interesting and attractive than the average person. Story 32. It is an artistic style, and if done well, it accentuates natural features and makes features that may not be considered attractive appear cute or sexy. For example, Marilyn Monroe's gap in front teeth. Story 33. Lots of contrast from the eye makeup, hair, and so on. Big fan of the intentionally ragged clothing, leather, and so on. I guess kind of like how girls are attracted to ragged-looking Johnny Depp. Kind of trashy, but only in a hot way, and not actually going to steal my wallet. Shows an interest in the same things as me. I'm a late 30s metalhead who hasn't looked the part in 15 years. Just because I got a haircut and work for the man doesn't mean I don't listen to the same music. Big fan of slightly cynical or jaded attitudes. Not to the point of being a bummer about everything, but give me a girl who can whip out the dry sarcasm and I'm in. I don't know. I guess your question is kind of like asking why girls who don't put fires out find firefighters hot. I happen to be into metal and so on, but anybody can like a look. Story 34. As a whole, I have found the alternative girl or woman far more approachable, as well as far nicer and pleasant to talk to. Don't get me wrong, they still have their fangs, but they almost as a rule start off pleasant and nice to talk to. The preppy aesthetic usually comes with a much less amenable personality. Story 35. It comes across as confident. You are clearly confident if you dress that way. And it also means you are comfortable expressing yourself. And men and women find confidence sexy. Story 36. I am super attracted to alternative women, and I genuinely could not tell you why. I just love tattoos and piercings on a woman. I do, however, have both of those things myself too. Story 37. This is from my boyfriend's perspective because I asked him this. He is a finance brother, maybe because finance brothers choose careers that do not allow us to be ourselves, and we hate ourselves because of it. It is admirable to see people who can so openly be themselves, and we are attracted to that. Of course, that is just one perspective, and it is not going to be true for everyone, but it does make sense for some cases.